Hi everyone. Oh no. I'm Yutong and welcome to our. Is there feedback? I apologize. Hi. Welcome to Sustaina-BITE-lity. This is hosted by the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and we are hosting this event to get everyone connected during the times of quarantine whilst we're all at home. We also want to be able to show you different ways to make vegetarian or / vegan meals, and to address our current current political climate. We don't want this event to take away from like the gravity and the seriousness of what we're all experiencing, of what the Black community is experiencing, and the Black Lives Matter movement. That's why we're also using this as our platform to spread information, to spread petitions, action items that we can all perform in our own homes, and how to stay safe if you choose to go out there. We have a list of petitions that we'll be sharing with you as we progress. And so I'm Yutong. I will be showing you guys how to make eggplant parmesan. This idea was courtesy of Matthew. Matthew, thank you very much, Matthew. He's an incoming senator, and thank you all for coming today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time to support the ES committee, and we're really, really happy that you're here. Steve, do you think you're ready for me to start? Well, yes, for me to start.
Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, everyone. I was bringing up some
I can't hear
stuff
you,
from my mom. Hello?
but I guess I will start. So I left the meeting I was in earlier. So, Steve, do you want to introduce yourself whilst I get things set up?
Yes. Can you hear me, Yutong? Okay.
We can't hear
Hi,
you.
everyone.
Oh,
I can hear you, Steve. You can go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Steve. I am the chair of the DHB Environmental Sustainability Committee. I'm your other head chef for the day. And with me, we'll be making Boba and milk tea, veganized. So today we're going to start off actually with making the eggplant parmesan with Yutong. And if you have not already seen, she actually has her eggplant ready. So there it is. And Yutong, how about let's start off with listing the ingredients that you need for the eggplant parmesan.
Alrighty, guys. So there are two cameras of me. There's one front view and one side view. So the side view is my cut eggplants. They're about half an inch thick. And if you're not familiar with US measurements, that's about 1.25 centimeters. They have been sitting here for about 2 hours. I lightly salted it and I came back and dabbed it with a paper towel to get the moisture out, to make sure that it cooks at its best. I have 2 eggs with me in a bowl. I understand this is not vegan. I'm trying my best to be an egg-allowing vegetarian. And then what I also have with me is a box of sauce that I made like in advance. I'll tell you how I made the sauce as we're going through everything else. And this, if you're cooking with us, would be your marinara sauce with all the spices and everything. I also have with me some Parmesan cheese. I got it pre-shredded just because it's easier. I have some all-purpose flour and some breadcrumbs. I like it Italian style, so there's some pre-seasoning to it. And what else do I have? That's about all of my ingredients. So I think we can get started. I will start by breading our eggplants. So let's get cooking. All right, so I'm gonna have some dialogue as I'm cooking so that you guys can kind of get to know me a little bit. So fun fact with my cooking quote-unquote career, I learned how to crack an egg when I was maybe 17 years old. I am currently 18. I have been very afraid of cooking eggs my entire life. But we're fine now. We have an okay relationship, and I'm cracking them nicely, I hope. It's kind of getting everywhere, but that's all right. So that goes in there. I am going to beat it with a fork. Give me 2 seconds. Let me throw these away. I'm gonna beat it with a fork. So whilst we're doing that, I'll tell you about everything else that went into my sauce. So my sauce is a standard tomato sauce. My friend actually helped me make it, which I'm very, very grateful for. My friend's name is Adam. So what we did was that we heated some olive oil in a pan. The ingredients that were needed were 1 whole onion, about 4 cloves of garlic, some diced tomatoes, some tomato paste. And so what we did is that we heated some, my apologies, this egg is refusing to beat. We heated some olive oil in a pan. We minced up about our 4 garlic cloves and threw it in there. We waited for like that little sizzle. And then our 1 onion, what we did was that we diced it up. We diced it up and then we put it all in there. We let it sweat for a little bit. That's what chefs call it. We call it sweating, for the moisture to come out. And then as it started getting a bit soft, we added our can of tomato sauce. Oh wait, no, before that, we put in some, like about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Let it cook for a little bit, let it soften. Then we put in our entire jar of tomato sauce. Let it, brought it to a boil. Then we let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And that is this lovely tomato sauce that you see today. You can season it however you like. We were recommended to maybe put some Italian seasonings like oregano, thyme, and basil. I didn't because I thought we had, but we don't. So we'll stick with salt and pepper. And we're gonna start breading now. So first step to breading, pardon me, let me wash my hands.
While Utah's washing your hands, everyone, I just want to mention if you want this to be vegan, instead of using eggs, you can use something called flaxseed. If you don't know what that is, please Google it. Oh, actually, I have some.
And I researched some other options for vegan. You would melt some butter into a bowl and put some cornstarch in. So the purpose of egg and whatever alternative you want is so that the breading sticks to the eggplant better and it has that nice crunch when you eat it. So we're gonna start by sprinkling our eggplants in flour. What I need to do is move everything to my chopping board, then clear out some space. Okay, these are the paper towels that I use to dry my eggplants. Okie dokie, we're gonna start with 1 baking tray. Hope you guys can see that. You can. Awesome sauce. I'm gonna sprinkle and kind of cover our eggplants with flour. I'll just pile those up together for now. Please let me know if I'm speaking too softly, if I'm going too fast, so that we're all in this together. Another fun fact about me is that I am a very questionable cook. So it's usually a hit or miss. And I think today so far it's hitting. I haven't burnt anything down or chopped my fingers off, which I am very, very happy about. Because I don't know how I'm gonna get myself to the hospital. They're probably gonna test me for coronavirus if I had to go to the hospital. Which maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. So whilst I do that, I'm gonna do a few first to demonstrate the process, and then show you guys how it's breaded and good breading techniques according to MasterChef and Worst Cooks in America, because that is where I learned my cooking from. Alrighty, so now that our eggplant is kind of breaded. Oh, it's not breaded yet, it's floured down. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna take our breadcrumbs, the Italian style breadcrumbs. I have a bowl on the side here that I'm gonna put some breadcrumbs into. I'll show you guys about how much I put inside. Sounds great. I've got like a ton of eggplant. I'll add more as we go if I need. So it's about that much. I have no idea how to measure that. I eyeball things. I'm not a very measured cook. Yes. Now we're gonna take our Parmesan cheese. You want it in a ratio of about 2 to 1. So 2 breadcrumbs to 1 Parmesan. I sampled the Parmesan earlier. I can attest to it being very nice. Another fun fact about me is that I really, really like cheese. Like, sincerely like cheese. So that's about 2 to 1 ratio. Hopefully. I'll add some more breadcrumbs. We'll eyeball it as we go. I'm just gonna mix that up. My apologies, I'm using my hands. Okay, awesome. So, the key to breading is that you want 1 wet hand and 1 dry hand, okay? So 1 hand is gonna go into the wet ingredients because it gets messy, and 1 hand is gonna dip everything in the dry things. So I'm gonna take my first slightly floured eggplant. I will put it into my egg. I don't want it to start floating. Please behave, please behave, please behave. Oh no. Okay, yes, I messed up. Not both my hands are wet. But basically you have to put it into the breadcrumbs, coat it in some breading, Parmesan, the mix, the lovely, lovely mix. Et voila, that is your first breaded eggplant. I just realized that I did not oil my baking tray or preheat my oven. So you guys are gonna go with me to preheat my oven. Oh, no. Steve, would you mind like starting a conversation as I get that going?
Sure. So, hey everyone, back to me, your other head chef. As Yutong talked about earlier, we really want to use this time to also talk about some of the issues that have been going on right now. One of them, of course, being the Black Lives Matter movement. And I don't want to get too deep into it right now since we're just using some downtime. We'll talk about it a little more once all of our food is cooking and we have a lot more downtime. But just as a preface, be prepared to talk about that later. If you have any questions at all, we'd love to answer them. But of course, none of us are experts on this movement, but we want to do our best to kind of spread the word so that the people around you are more aware of what's going on, so that you're more aware of what's going on, and what you can do to help educate your friends and family on this issue. So for your vegan boba milk tea, what you'll need is your choice of tea. I'm using Thai tea because that's what I have. You can also use black tea, green tea is also really good. Use whichever tea that you feel, kind of suits your taste. You're gonna need boba. I have pre-made boba here.
All right, would you mind putting that on pause? I'm ready to continue.
Okay.
Or would you like to finish?
Back to you, Tom.
All right, thank you so much, Steve. Okay, so I found the oil. Usually people like to use like baking spray and stuff, but I think oil does the job. So I'm just gonna lightly oil the pan so that things don't stick, right? My hands are clean, so there you go. There you go. My hands are clean, don't worry. I've washed them a lot. Just greasing down the pan so that we don't have to be scraping things off of it later. And there you go. Now this was my first breaded eggplant. That's pretty looking. That's pretty nice looking. I'm gonna put it onto the first baking thing. And to tell you what I was doing earlier was that I just went to preheat the oven. You want to preheat it to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius because I learned how to make this in American. And so I'm gonna go on to my next eggplant that I'm breading right now. Sprinkle, dab, breadcrumbs. I'm sure Gordon Ramsay has something to say about my technique, but fun fact, well, not fun fact. When I was learning how to make this, I was helping my friend chop up the garlic. He stood there for a little bit until he was like, "Yutong, you're too slow. Let me just do it." Yeah. But I'm glad I'm here. I'm showing you guys what's happening. I'm just gonna do a few pieces of eggplant as we go, so that I don't bore you with my 20 slices of eggplant. And then just one last for control to demonstrate. We've got the flour. We've got the floured down eggplant. We're gonna dip it lightly in some egg. And we're gonna put it in there. Put it in there. Sprinkle it. I think most of the Parmesan that goes into this recipe is on the eggplant. We have some left like on the side for when we're gonna put it into the casserole. But your eggplant right now, that's the star of the show. Alrighty, Steve, I'm just gonna keep finishing all of this. Do you wanna keep introducing the teas that you're using for your boba?
Sure.
Thank you.
While Yutong's doing that, anyways, Thai tea. I really like this stuff. If you prefer something like fruity teas, you can get herbal teas such as, I can't think of one on the top of my head right now.
Like jasmine?
Jasmine is actually a green tea, which is great if you need something, kind of quote unquote healthier than coffee. Black teas have a lot more caffeine, so if you want to stay up more, then you want to use black tea. I think Thai tea is a black tea, if I'm not mistaken, and herbal teas have absolutely no caffeine. So if you want a kind of tea that doesn't really affect like your sleeping at night, then herbal tea is definitely the way to go. I know some people, as I was talking about fruit teas, like taro milk tea. I personally really like taro milk tea, but typically most milk tea shops like use powder stuff for taro milk tea or like things like honeydew because it's otherwise you have to use something called like a syrup, which both taste kind of very artificial tasting unless you have like the actual fruit itself and then you like puree and whatnot, added that to your tea, then you'll have something that's not as artificial tasting. Otherwise, if you just want to do something super duper quick and easy, you can just use a powder. There are also Thai tea powders available, black milk tea powders available. But if you want something that's very fresh tasting, then you want to use the actual tea itself. And then, as I was saying, I also got boba here. If you have the time, you can make your own boba, but just know that you'll need at least probably an hour to do this and a lot of patience because it takes maybe at least 1 minute to just roll up one of these little babies. And then cooking them is another story. So, pre-made boba, you can find this at any local Asian grocery store. I'm sure in the tea section, I believe. I found this at my local Asian grocery store just right across my street. And I found this by the udon. I'm not sure if you'll find the same, but I can assure you that as long as you go to an Asian grocery store, then you'll be able to find one. Or if you don't feel comfortable going out, you can probably go onto Amazon. Hi, Grandpa. You can go onto Amazon and order that online. There's some Asian grocery stores that deliver, so those are some options for you. But otherwise, I really like this brand. It's called Boba. If you really want to make your own boba, first, good luck. Second, I can send a helpful video if you'd like. But I know that, right? You basically just need tapioca starch, water, and brown sugar. Tapioca starch is kind of hard to find at like your like Target or Whole Foods. You can't really find that type of stuff. So again, you'll have to go to another Asian grocery store if you want tapioca starch. But other than that, that's really all you need to make your boba, or just buy pre-made boba like me. And then you're gonna want to use brown sugar, or I will be using brown sugar, just because brown sugar, when you heat it up, brown sugar has molasses in it, and so it has a kind of more caramel-like flavor when you heat it up. You can use white sugar if you like, if you want to use honey, if you want to use maple syrup, use whatever you'd like. But I personally really like brown sugar. And then lastly, to make this vegan, all you need is your choice of milk. And today, I'll be using Chobani Oat Vanilla. So I really like using oat milk, or I like oat milk in general because it's very kind of rich. It has a lot of good fats. It's not as watery as almond milk, I'd say, or cashew milk. And this is the vanilla flavor. I think this adds another type of sweetness to it, so that's really good. And I've never used this before when making milk tea, but you know, trying new things today. 2020, it's time to get creative. So vanilla Chobani Oat is what I'll be using, and that's pretty much it. That's all you'll need for your milk tea. And again, this is just my preference of milk. So if you want to use half and half, or if you want to use coconut milk, you want to use almond milk, whatever, your choice, you do that. You do you. And other than these ingredients, you're going to need 2 pots, one for brewing your tea, and the other for boiling your boba. So, and you don't have to brew your tea in a pot. I just do that because it's a lot faster to heat up your water that way, and to also have kind of like a bulk amount of tea. If you have like a tea kettle and you don't mind getting it dirty, by all means do that. But otherwise, I like doing it in a pot just because it's a lot easier to clean up afterwards. So I'm not sure if we want to start on the boba now. If I know some of you guys might be cooking right now alongside Yutong, so maybe we will wait. And while Yutong's doing that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about everything that's going on right now. So I'm sure that you guys know that there have been a lot of protests going on, a lot of rioting, a lot of people stealing stuff, a lot of police going crazy, and then people going crazy because the police are crazy. And if you don't know why, it's because of one thing that has been around for a really long time. It's not like this problem has been here like just for 2 weeks or anything like that, ever since the riots started. This problem has been around for longer than we've been alive, and even before the United States became the United States. So, and that problem is racism. So this really kickstarted when this person named George Floyd, he was wrongfully murdered by a policeman. He was accused of having a check, I believe, a check that was, I can't remember. He was wrongly accused of that check being false, but later on, in the courts, they found out that it was a real check. But the reason why he died is because a policeman held his knee onto George's neck, and they held him down, and he told the police officers, "I can't breathe." Despite that, the policeman did not remove his knee from his neck, and because of that, George Floyd died. And this caused an uproar because as an example, this is something I saw on Twitter. There was a white man who tweeted, I'm not sure if this happened on the same day, but something like, if this was basically this man comparing himself to George Floyd, I can't remember if he did this or not, but basically he was saying, I think he said that he did something similar to this. They were in the same situation or something like that. And he said that for him, the cops let him off easy. For him, it's a story that he can laugh about. The white man, it's a story that he can laugh about, that he can tell his friends about at a party or something like that. It's something that, he can look back on and just think like, remember when that happened? And then he was saying that, but for George Floyd, it's, he's not even alive anymore to tell this story. And so that's why, and this is another big problem in the United States. And for those of you who may not be aware, white privilege, this is an example of that. Basically, this man was acknowledging that because of the color of his skin as a white man, he is alive and George Floyd is not. So that prejudice may be part of the reason why, or is most likely the reason why, George Floyd was so wrongfully murdered. If George Floyd, or if a white man was doing what George Floyd did, he definitely would not have died. And so that's why a lot of people are so angry, because this is something that happens not only in the United States, but all over the world. And now people are finally stepping up. There are a lot of things that, kind of go unheard. People don't really, speak up when they see something that's wrong. And now people are we're like all 50 states and the USA this is like the first time in a really long time that all 50 states have done something collectively. And so that's really amazing. And that's one of the reasons why Yutong and I want to share this with you all, because we know that there's still a lot of problems that we can address. My mom's here. Wait, just 1 second, everyone.
And actually, I was scrolling this morning on social media, and today was Brianna Taylor's birthday. And if you're unfamiliar with her story, she was an African American woman. She was in her house. I think she was sleeping in her bed. But because of some police miscommunication or I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. They stormed into her house and shot her, I think 8 times, in the safety of her own home. And I think that really highlights the situation where we're in, that African American people are unable to feel safe, even in the sanctuary of their own homes. George Taylor was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back, because the injustice has been happening in America for who knows how long. Sorry, I'm not familiar with my American history. Since slavery, I actually watched a documentary last night called 13. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, because I've always felt like I am severely underinformed about everything that goes on. As much as we know the basics of AP US history, A push, all of us taking that in high school, there are stories that are untold. There are perspectives that were not said because it was not said from the white man's lens. I listened to a podcast yesterday, and it was about the Haitian Revolution. about how Congolese slaves were enslaved by the French. After a series of small revolutions, eventually they managed to gain independence for themselves. And because word travels fast, this caused, this stirred up some panic amongst white Americans, because this was the symbol that slavery is not something that can continue, that, revolutions will happen and people cannot be held against their will. And which brings me to some other things that I recently learned that even though slavery was abolished, there's a loophole. I was so surprised. There's a loophole in the 13th Amendment that said, we're not allowed to hold people as slaves unless they're being convicted of a crime. And that also brings up the American prison system, but we're gonna stay in history. Unless you're being convicted of a crime. And then that led to African Americans being arrested, by the handful, one after the other for small things such as loitering, okay, and homelessness. I mean, if you're hanging out at a place and you get accused as a criminal and put in handcuffs, because that's the only way that slave owners could have you as free labor, that's such a dark history that I'm ashamed to admit that I only recently learned about, but it really makes us think about where we came from, the injustices that built the country that we live in, because slavery was capitalism. Slavery was used as free labor. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. Steve, do you want to continue?
Yes. Thank you, Tom, for giving us a little background as to what's happening. And so a lot of you are probably thinking, what can I do, right? I don't have much money to donate. I'm still not too educated on this matter. So what you can do is sign petitions. That's one of the most powerful things that we can do right now in order to, help show our support. And so right now, for those of you who are just here with us, to have some fun, I'd really love it if you guys could refer to the links that I have in the group chat, in the Zoom group chat. I'm going to link a bunch of petitions, and each one really is only going to take 1 minute, you guys. It doesn't matter which one you sign, but if you could please sign all of them, or any petitions you sign, of course, we're all gonna really appreciate it. So I'm gonna send a bunch of those petitions right now. And then the first very link that I sent is a link from Twitter, actually, and it shows all those links that I'm sending right now. Otherwise, pretty soon we'll be sending tonight, when we post a recording for this workshop for Sustaina-BITE-lity, we'll also post a spreadsheet of all of the petitions that you can sign and what other ways you can support. So just gonna send some of that here. And I know that Yutong and I have been doing a lot of talking, so I was just wondering if any of you guys have questions about anything at all about the food or about the Black Lives Matter movement. We just want to kind of open up the floor because I know that this is kind of a stressful time for everyone. A lot of people's jobs have been affected by the looting. Up until yesterday, we've been having a curfew until 8 p.m., at least in San Jose. And then a lot of people were saying that, the reason why we had that curfew was because people the local government didn't want people to protest. They didn't want people to riot. They didn't want people to loot. So basically, they're trying to silence our voices in a sense. And the people who would, violate the curfew would be the protesters. And police were arresting people because of that. Casey, did you want to say anything? Because I see that you popped up.
Hi, I just came back from a class meeting. That's why I popped back up. But I think what's important is that we don't focus on, first of all, let's not call them rioting, because people are peacefully protesting, and then police, and I think if you're on Twitter or if you're on Instagram or any social media, really, you will see examples of police brutality. I think the latest clip that was circulating was the police pushed a man back and he fell and he hit his head and he immediately started bleeding. So it's not
That man was
rioting. Yeah, he was an elderly man. So it's not, it's only called rioting because that's what the media labels it. Oh my God, my husband's in a meeting. Yeah, so just be mindful of the media you consume. And focus on the message and what we need to do as a nation.
Thanks, Casey. Yeah, I know a lot of us are still learning right now. I myself am still learning. But just know, guys, this is, whatever's happening right now, it's happening for a reason. And that's because it's not okay. We're finally standing up for it. Okay? We're not going to take this anymore. And one of the reasons why people are so upset is because, that police officer who murdered George Floyd, those police officers who murdered Brianna Taylor, Ahmad Jafar, and countless other Black people, they were never charged. They never received any consequences for their actions. And that's why people are so angry. Because if this happened to a white person, white people would be so angry. White people are like, oh my God, you killed my son. Like, I want you in jail right now. But because, this happened to Black people, before this, nobody would have cared as much. So those are just some examples of racial injustice. And, I'm really glad that people are starting to speak up and things like that. So, times like this, sorry, I know this is like a really heavy topic, you guys. We're trying to keep this lighthearted as much as possible, because we all want to de-stress during these times. But at the same time, it's really important that we, as people living in the United States right now, it's important that we are mindful of the people who we live around, and because these, we all share one world. We all live in the same place. Why can't we all just get along? Anyways.
Can I say one thing to bandwagon off of what Steve was just saying? So would someone mind being a scribe for me in the chat? Because I'm gonna share a link. It's a very easy link. So I think now is the perfect time. We're always in the perfect time to learn, but right now it's the most important time. And it always should be the most important time for us to educate ourselves and understand the situation that Black people are subject to. So if anyone wouldn't mind putting in the chat for me, there is a spreadsheet that someone I know made. And it's been widely shared, and you can collaborate on it if you have any other resources you would like to add. So on this spreadsheet, there are, let me just share the link for it. So this is bit.ly.
Bit.ly?
Yeah, bit.ly / capital L. Capital L only, learn to inform, no spaces.
Okay.
And that will take you to a spreadsheet called Do Better. It has numerous tabs, such as literature that we can see. We can read like academia and nonfiction books in order for us to gain more perspective on lives that we are not forced to live because of our privilege. There's music, there are TV shows, documentaries, I think it's a wonderful database, and if you guys have anything else to add to it, please feel free. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I'm ready for more cooking, if everyone else is.
Just before you start, Yutong, I just wanted to mention, so Yutong's Bitly I sent into the Zoom group chat, and then Noara, thank you so much. Noara also sent a link. She sent the wrong link, but I'm sure she'll send the right one shortly, and there it is. If you guys are able right now, please check out the link that we sent and sign those petitions if you haven't already. It's gonna mean a lot to this movement overall, and it's going to help you educate, reading all these cases too, it's really going to help you learn a lot. So if you have even just like this time right now until our Sustaina-BITE-lity ends, it's going to be a really helpful way for you to learn about everything. Back to you, Tom.
Alrighty, okay, so you guys might see that I have some leftovers because I'm not great at measuring how much food I actually need. So what I'm gonna show you guys, I'll take you on my phone. So earlier, if you remember, you can see me on the laptop there. I preheated the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I am going to pop the lovely breaded eggplants into the oven. I'll grab the second one very soon. And I just realized that the oven has one rack, which means I can only cook this one at a time. Okay, let me just finish the instructions. So you want to put them in there for 10 minutes, let them, crisp on the side, on the top. And after 10 minutes, you want to flip them, do another 10 minutes, and then that's what we're going to do. So now I've got 20 minutes of time. Steve, do you think you're able to start boba?
Yes. So again, for those of you who are following with Yutong, you're going to want to put in your eggplant now, and we're going to start making some boba. So the quote-unquote hardest part of this, actually, guys, making vegan boba milk tea, it's super duper easy. The hardest part really is just waiting. So, a lot of us, I know a lot of you guys really like to drink milk tea, myself included, and it's really easy to just, walk into Quicklies or walk into Happy Lemon or whatever it is and just spend $5 to $7 on something that's gonna take like 2 minutes to drink, but it's not gonna be easy on your wallet. So I really want to recommend that you guys make milk tea at home because it's so easy and it's so much more affordable. And to be honest, not sponsored, not sponsored, but ever since I started making this at home, I find myself to not have as many cravings, and of course my wallet has a bit more money in it now. So really want to recommend that you guys make your own milk tea at home. It's so easy. It's so easy. If you can boil water, you can do this, okay? That's how easy it is. So I'm gonna switch on over to my phone now. If you guys can hear it. Okay, so I got a pot here and my boba here. So you're gonna want to, I'm gonna turn on the stove. Get your water boiling. Let's just do half a pot for now. I just do think water, you guys, because it's fine. When water is heated, you can just drink it. It's safe to drink. And tap water in San Jose is very safe to drink. Get that heated. Yeah, so really guys, the longest part of this is waiting for the boba to cook. So while our water for that is boiling, we're gonna get another pot and we are going to boil water for our Thai tea. And now I'm gonna try to find a pot. Does anyone have any questions so far? About anything at all? I have a question. Yutong,
Yes.
why was 6 afraid of 7?
6, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Sorry. Okay, if we're gonna do that, then I've got some better jokes.
Oh wait, sorry, I couldn't hear the first time. What did you say?
If we're gonna battle off with the jokes, I've got some. What's the difference between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with breast implants?
What?
One's a crusty bus station and the other's a busty crustacean. I'm sorry. If you guys don't know me, that is the summation of what my humor is. I don't know anything beyond cheesy jokes.
We love that.
Okay, so
Nathan says, how do you make an egg roll? How do you make an egg roll, Nathan? You push it. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna use that. Thanks, Nathan. Alright, guys. Getting my water for my tea. For your tea, everyone, I'd suggest using like a 1 to 3 ratio. So every 1 cup of tea, use 3 cups of water. You can use more if you'd like, but if you do, just know that your tea will be very, very, very concentrated. Yeah, a lot of it is just waiting, everyone. Okay.
Okay, so whilst we wait, maybe I can just add on. So I'm
Please.
just thinking about what I was saying earlier, and I realized that I might make a really bad history teacher because I miss a lot of details and the reasons for things. So if my preaching didn't make a lot of sense, I would recommend, some podcasts. I'm pretty sure they're all linked in the spreadsheet. The one I listened to yesterday was called Black History. Yes, I think so. Yeah. And then if you're looking for the specific one about the Haitian Revolution, then that would be yeah, sorry, I need to look for it so I give you guys accurate information.
All right, guys. Yeah.
Okay, I found it. So the podcast channel is called Black History Year. And the episode I listened to is called Is This the Blueprint for Black Liberation?
All right, thanks, Yutong. So, we're doing a lot of waiting right now. And so we should take this time to maybe talk about some issues that are going on within De Anza.
Can I plug some resources?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Steve,
Yes?
can I plug some resources?
Yes.
Okay, so if you guys aren't aware, there's an emergency grant that's available to all students at this time. If you go to the financial aid section of the website, there should be a form, and I believe the amounts that they are giving out is about $500 to $1,000. If you are an undocumented student, you might have heard that the CARES Act money doesn't apply to you. However, we have funding from other sources that are able to be given out to DACA recipients. So everybody is encouraged to apply. Another resource I want to plug is we have free legal counseling through the Office of College Life. This is something that DASB funds every year, and it's a wonderful resource. If you want more information, I recommend you go to the school website, search for legal advice in the search bar up top, and I believe appointments are every Tuesday and Thursday. This coming week is the last week to have an appointment with our legal advisor, so if you know anyone who might need it, please definitely direct them to that. Another service that we have, or an office that I think everybody should be aware of, especially during this time, is the Office of Equity. That is maintained by Tony Santa Ana. And what the Office of Equity does is it promotes different multicultural workshops and also helps support the Jean Miller Resource Room, which is the LGBTQ plus community on campus. Yeah, and let's see what else. There's another community that I also want to promote. It's called Men of Color. So if you guys aren't aware, we do have a support system in place for Black male students to get mentorship, counseling, and that could be for making educational plan, navigating the campus, because I feel like some parts are really difficult to. It's difficult to find resources, so they just kind of combined everything together and they made it into one-stop shop, so they're able to help you. And yeah, follow DASB Senate on Instagram. It's at DASB Senate, and we try to do our best to promote different services that we have on campus that we help financially support.
Thanks, Casey. If you could link some of the important things you talked about into the Zoom group chat so that viewers are aware of this, it'd be really awesome. But again, you can, if you don't have the link or whatever, you can also just Google this, go onto the De Anza website, and you'll be able to really easily find it. Right now, my water is actually boiling, and so we're gonna start cooking the boba.
And while Steve gets that started, my 10 minutes is up, and I'll take you guys into my oven and show you how that looks. Oh, that's hot. That is sizzling. So I need to bring it out, and I am going to flip it. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to do that. Steve, over to you.
Okay. So while my water is boiling, and I got my measuring cups here. You don't have to use measuring cups. If you want to use a ratio, just do a 1 to 2 ratio. So for every 1 cup of boba, use 2 cups of water, or at least just enough water to cover the boba. A little more than necessary. Reason why is because if you don't add enough water, the boba is made from tapioca starch, and the starch is gonna make the water very kind of gloopy. So, in order to not make it too gloopy, you want to add enough water. Otherwise, it will stick together as well. The boba, which is something you do not We should not prefer. So add this to the water. I don't know if you guys can see. And 2 cups of water already, so 1 cup would be more than enough. And so we're just really gonna wait for that to boil, wait for the boba to cook.
Okay, while Steve's boba's cooking, you're gonna watch me do this. I'm flipping my thing. So I've learned something today that pre-shredded Parmesan cheese doesn't melt very well. So I kind of have like hard bits of Parmesan on top of it, but it's gonna be crunchy. So that's good. Oh, that camera isn't turned on. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be crunchy. And after I flip everything over, we're gonna pop it back in for another 10 minutes. How nice would it have been if we could make it on campus and share it with everyone? Ooh, crunchy.
Yummy!
Yummy, it smells great. I'm excited. I didn't grease my pan enough also, but it's okay.
For those of you guys listening, Casey sent in some of the links that we talked about earlier. So one of them being the emergency grant and the free legal advice. So again, if you guys know anyone who, or if you know anyone who's in need of financial assistance, please apply for the emergency grant. There are funds allocated for each and every student, so don't think it's going to be first come or first serve. But there are a lot of people applying for the emergency funds at this moment, so it might take a while for the funds to come to you. But either way, you will get financial assistance one way or another. Anyways, you told me he's doing that, so I'm just gonna you guys my boba. So if you guys can if you guys can see, my boba be boiling. Got my spoon here. We can do some stir because we do not want the boba to clump and stick to each other. And we want, at first I had the heat at a medium high, but I'm gonna lower down the heat so that the boba doesn't burn. We don't want burnt tasting boba. So really guys, we're just gonna leave this on a low simmer for maybe about 15 minutes or so. And then we're gonna cover this up. And leave this on a really low heat because if you leave it on a heat that's too high, your water is gonna overflow out of the pot. And I've got some water boiling here for our tea. You guys can brew the tea however you'd like, but again, I'm doing it in a pot because it's gonna be easier to clean. Got my tea.
I'm so glad to see so many people joining us now. Hi, everyone. I wasn't able to see all the participants, but thank you all for coming.
If it's okay, I want to talk about one other resource that I forgot and I kind of left out. Steve, you're muted, but I'm just going to assume that you said, okay, Casey, go ahead. Okay. All right, so there's also free unlimited psychological services. Free counseling, and there's currently no wait time. It takes about 48 hours between you emailing for an appointment and them connecting you to a counselor. And if you're looking to be connected to a counselor who is sensitive to your cultural background or has the same cultural background as you, then they take that into serious consideration and they will match you up. And they no longer have a limit of 10 sessions. It's now unlimited. So please, if you're having a difficult time right now, I really encourage you to reach out to psychological services. And I put the link in the chat.
Thanks, Casey. Also, I didn't know that I was muted earlier. So first I just want to say, nice Instagram, Casey. I wonder whose Instagram that belongs to. And welcome, Kim. Thanks for joining us. For any people who joined late, all the resources that we posted, all the petitions that we sent into the group chat, we'll be posting later when we post a recording tonight onto our event page. Anyways, so my water be boiling for the tea. So again, if you're using a black tea, I'd highly recommend that you use a 1-to-3 ratio. So 1 cup of tea leaves to 3 cups of water, just so that your tea isn't too concentrated. I just love the smell of Thai tea, guys. And another reason why I really like using Thai tea is because the contrast layer, like when you add your milk, it just looks so pretty. When it permeates, when the milk just permeates through the tea, it's like magic. Boom, magic. Okay, so you add it to your pot, and then you're gonna let that brew for about 4 minutes is the fun fact. I was a barista at Pete's Coffee, and they always told us that 4 minutes is kind of like the sweet spot. So you let that simmer, and yeah, now we just gotta wait. I think Yutom's looking for her mayonnaise sauce.
I'm getting impatient and I keep staring into the oven and smelling the eggplants.
You guys, this is just the hard. Cooking is easy, you guys. The hardest part is just waiting.
It's waiting and trying not to eat all the raw ingredients because I still have an entire thing of eggplants here.
So the point of this event, everyone, is really for us to kind of show you, you don't need to spend a bunch of money on things that you can do at home yourself. As I was saying, it's so easy to spend $5 to $7 on just a cup of milk tea, and which you can finish in like under 5 minutes. But it's just a little more effort that you like. Not only milk tea for yourself, but also your entire family or whoever's living with you. Everything with this eggplant parmesan.
Okay, I'll talk about maybe a TED Talk. Was it TED Talk? It was a Vox video that I watched recently. I don't know, I feel like I'm just preaching and just a disclaimer, anything that I talk about, it's just me recounting my experiences with learning anything. I'm not saying that I'm like completely accurate, but there's just some things that I found particularly interesting. So this is more about the diet that can help save the environment. And I'm just going to do that Reddit thing where it's like TLDR. I don't even know what it stands for. But a summation of it is that you don't have to be vegan or vegetarian like completely in order to help reduce greenhouse gases. Just reduce meat intake to maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and it makes a really big difference. So I'm pretty sure that most of you all kind of know like what the impact of too long, didn't read. Thank you, Ethan, for the clarification. Of beef, lamb. I don't know what it's called. I think it's like red meat and stuff. I don't know how to classify them. But what these animals do is that they eat, and they eat a lot of grass that they somehow digest, but not very well. They're not great at digesting. So it's like a lot of gas that comes out of them. I know everyone says, oh, cow farts are killing their environment. It's actually their burps. They burp a lot more than they fart. And what comes out of them is methane, CH4, greenhouse gas. Really, really harmful. It's raising the temperatures of our, oh my God, sorry, people keep calling me. I'm popular. Sorry. Cows are the worst in terms of releasing gases. Yeah, Kimberly, they release a lot more gases. And then I forgot what the measurements were, but I think one cow compares to a couple hundred cars. I'm sorry, numbers aren't my thing. I see Kimberly and Ethan are, I love it. Do you guys want to speak up actually, so that it's not just Steven and I, our voices? Do you guys want to speak up?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of eating, so my mouth is kind of full, but I totally agree with you, Yutong, on it. You really don't have to keep to a strict diet to be really contributing to a better lifestyle. I think even not eating meat for 1 or 2 days a week causes a huge impact. And so things like meatless Mondays, things like maybe not eating meat on weekends even help. So it doesn't have to be extremely drastic and you have to change your entire life, but even making small changes can really help.
Ethan, do you want to talk about masticators? Masticants? What did you call them? The
Hello. Can you hear me?
ruminants. Did I
Yes.
say Isn't mastication the chewing that they do? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
mastication is like basically the sciencey name for chewing. So ruminants are basically animals with a part of their digestive tract known as the rumen. And in this specialized part of the digestive tract that they have microorganisms called methanogen. And basically these microorganisms are the ones to blame for making excess amounts of methane, and which is released in like the burps and like the gas of cows and like other ruminants. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Kimberly and Ethan, for sharing. We really appreciate your guys' participation in this and for being so woke in terms of meatless diets. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second. Anyways, back to our tea for a little second. Now it should have been a little over 4 minutes, so you just want to take your pot or you want to stop brewing your tea and just let it sit to the side. If you want your tea to be a little more concentrated, you can leave it just sit there, or you can remove the tea leaves at this point. And to do so, you just need a strainer. If you do not have a strainer, you can use something like a cheesecloth or maybe something like a very thin towel. So just so that you can stop the tea leaves from getting into your tea. Because you don't want to, when you're drinking your milk tea, you don't want to have the tea leaves. You don't want to eat tea leaves.
I'd like to give a special shout out to my friend who decided to join us, CJ. Thank you so much for coming. Isn't it like 3 a.m.? But yeah, that's my friend CJ. He's supporting us.
Thanks, CJ. Maybe you should go to sleep, but thank you for being here.
Like you live in.
So something like this, if you have one, strainers are really helpful. Whatever you use, if you guys ever make pasta and have a strainer, you can use that. This is perfect. And we're just gonna check now on our boba. I'm gonna switch over onto my phone so that's easy for you guys to see.
And while Steve is doing that, I'm just gonna show you guys. So my 10 minutes are up. I'm gonna take my eggplants out of the oven. Ta-da! I'm kind of tempted to just eat it.
Yummy!
Yummy looking. Okay, and that other half is gonna go. I don't know if it's gonna be used. Steve, how's the boba coming?
Right here. So as you can see, guys, the boba has really expanded. So this is why it's really important to keep that ratio. You really want enough water for the boba. Otherwise, it's going to, what's a good comparison? It's not going to cook too well. So you just want enough water and stir every now and then so that none of it is sticking to the bottom of your pot and so that the boba isn't sticking to each other. And actually at this point, so I know that there are a lot of different ways to do this, but now that we see that the boba is almost cooked through, I added some a bit late, so actually we'll do that later. But anyways, just keep letting this cook, guys. Stir every now and then. But that's pretty much it. And then my pot of tea is right over there. I'm gonna get ready to strain it. I think Yutong is probably getting ready to open up her marinara sauce that she prepared.
Steve, would you like me to continue, or are you gonna continue soon?
You can continue, Yutong.
For sure. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I just had to grab a quick bite on the side. Alrighty. So, for those of us who joined us a bit late, I'm gonna show you a sauce that. Hold on 2 seconds. You can hear my voice for a little bit. A sauce that my friend helped me make. It's got onions and garlic, about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and an entire tin of tomatoes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a spoon. That's what I'm gonna do first. I have my spoon. I also have my mozzarella cheese because, as I said earlier, I really love cheese. So we are gonna start with 1 layer of tomato sauce. I wildly overestimated how much sauce I had. We will make it work. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to grease this. Okay, so maybe I might have to eat out of a casserole dish, but that's happening. So I'm gonna put 1 layer of sauce. Can you guys see? Yep. Then we're gonna build a little pizza tower looking thing. I'm gonna put some, sorry, I'm just hiding who's walking through. Okay. I'm gonna put my eggplant, another eggplant, another eggplant, more eggplant. Does anyone have any fun eggplant facts they want to throw out? Ethan, do you guys have anything? On a biological perspective, you know, why eggplants are good for you?
Ethan, you should share that mushroom fact that you shared with us yesterday.
Mushroom fact? Who?
The benefits of mushrooms as opposed to meat. Or if you guys don't have eggplants, you can also use mushroom for this recipe. Really, really good. Mushrooms tend to have a quite meaty texture compared to other vegetables, so they're a really good substitute as well when you kind of crave meat but also don't want meat, if that makes sense. and a really good source of protein and fiber.
Okay, so I'm gonna open. Oh no, I did not know mozzarella cheese had water in it. Okay, so I'm gonna open up my mozzarella cheese, and we're gonna do a 3-layer repetition. I'll have to put this in a Ziploc bag later. Okay, so what we had first was the tomato sauce. Then we layered on the eggplants. Now we're gonna put some mozzarella cheese on it. I'm not quite sure. Oh my god! No! Behave! Behave!
Wait, what happened?
I didn't realize mozzarella cheese was that soft. Okay. This is the comedy that I promised. Okay, now it's working. Oh god. Wow. Okay. That's okay. It's gonna work. It's fine. Now I'm just gonna spread that over it. Mozzarella cheese. Do you guys like basil? Is that how you pronounce it? Apparently basil, how I say it, is wrong. So,
Or your tongue.
thank you, Tom.
Call it
Pronunciation.
But you know, Gordon Ramsay be like the basil.
The basil. Okay, I'm gonna make another layer of tomato sauce.
Looks so good.
Steve, are you gonna continue?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's switch on over to my phone.
Steve, you're muted on both of your devices. So if you want to, yeah, either unmute your phone.
Oops.
There you
Okay,
go.
thanks,
Okay.
Casey. Okay. All right. So at this point, everyone, your boba should be almost fully cooked. And I know that there are a lot of different ways. I know that Taiwanese people might kill me, but again, I'm trying to work smarter, not harder here. So what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna add our brown sugar directly into the pot. And the reason why I do this is because since the boba isn't fully cooked, the brown sugar, it's gonna permeate into the boba while it's still cooking. And that's why I know that at a lot of other milk tea places, they will they'll add the boba into another pot. They'll make a sugar solution and then they'll add the boba to that. But I don't want to wash more dishes. So I'm just gonna add the brown sugar into this. Here we've got a brown sugar. Doesn't really matter which one you use. Dark brown here just means that there's more molasses in it. Brown sugar. So if you use, so for ratio, in terms of ratio, guys, if you use a cup of boba, I would recommend adding up to half a cup. So 1-to-2 ratio. You can do less if you don't want it as sweet. But I really like my boba very sweet, or I like having my boba sweet and not having my tea as sweet. And then sweet boba, like it adds to the tea. You don't have to add much sugar. So yeah, like I'm saying that's half a cup maybe. And you stir that in there. Sorry. Sorry guys if this is not a direct measurement. I know there's some people who really like cooking with certain measurements. And also sorry for those of you who follow the metric system. We completely abandoned that today. And one of the great things, guys, about cooking at home is that you really get to control however sweet you want things or however salty you want things. At milk tea places, I guess you do kind of have the power to customize as long as you tell your barista. But again, you don't get as much bang out of your buck. So it's super duper easy and really tasty, and it's really rewarding in the end. So give this a quick taste. If it's sweet enough for you. And then this flavor is also gonna get more concentrated later. So leave that to go, and it's gonna get mugged. I know, as you can see, the water's kind of gloopy due to the tapioca starch. And the boba is gonna continue cooking, so we're gonna leave this on to simmer. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more sugar, because I really love I really, one of my biggest pet peeves, you guys, is when I go to a milk tea shop and I pay, you know, the $5 to $7, and then the boba is really good, like it has a really great texture, but it's flavorless. That's one of my biggest. Don't do that. Don't do that either. Oh, me. My mom's soup that she made. Anyways, don't ruin your mother's soup. One of my biggest pet peeves, guys, is like when the milk tea itself tastes so good, but the boba, it's like, it tastes like nothing. You know? Anyways, make sure you quote unquote season your boba. Add enough sugar to your liking. And we're gonna leave this on to simmer.
I don't know if anyone saw that, but I burnt my hand. So, a warning, food is hot when you cook it.
And again, guys, you want to leave this on a low heat. If you put it on any heat that's higher, there's a chance that you'll burn your boba. So really be patient and leave it on a low simmering heat. And then here I've got a glass bowl ready, just one that's big enough, and I'll transfer it to something later for my Thai tea. My pot tea. And then we're gonna strain this, baby. I'm gonna switch over onto my laptop.
Steve, are we on a pause right now?
Do you have everything in, Yuto?
Kind of.
Yeah, I'm just gonna strain my tea right now. Pot of tea, glass bowl, strainer. Do you have one tray in the oven right now, Yuto?
Sorry. Yes, I have the other one in, but I'm just gonna make one casserole for you guys.
Yummy.
A small one. Well, for me. I'm sorry. So during this little period of silence, I can also share another cool thing that I found out over this past week. We have a lot of YouTubers who are doing these videos that they load with ads, and it's really easy for us to just put it on in the background. You can plug your headphones in if you're trying to concentrate or something, and like not listen to it. And these ads, they're using the money that they make for these ads to support all the charities that are helping with, for example, bail, these funds. And this is a very easy way for you to step up and help the current movement if you're unable to go out there and protest or donate. Even if you don't have the money to donate, it's completely okay. Like we understand, it's everyone has their own financial situation, but it's very easy for you to just put on a YouTube video and then have it on in the background so that that money can help support this. I don't know if anybody has the link to it right now, but I can quickly.
I can grab it for you.
Thank you so much. And I know a lot of other YouTubers are getting in on it. So there are a lot of videos. Some things to keep in mind though when you're doing it. I think the instructions are usually in the comments, but you would want to finish watching it, but don't put it on a loop because the YouTube algorithms register it as spam. So you would watch maybe 3 to 5 short videos. I don't know, like a tasty thing, you know, some things to trick the algorithm, and then you search for this video by name, like you put it in the search bar, and then you can watch it again. I think that this original video is about 1 hour 15 minutes. So if you're studying, if you're Pomodoro techniquing, you know, studying in breaks, it's a good thing to have in the background. And if you look for some YouTubers that have made playlists of everyone else who is using the ad profits, I think you can just put the playlist on play and every single YouTube video registers it. It's different. One thing to note though is not to mute it. I'm not sure if it's true, but I'd rather just be safe. So I plug in my headphones and have the volume to at least like 75% so that it shows I'm actually watching it, you know, it's not just spam on the internet. So that's an easy way that you can get involved and help support. I see Steve is straining. Thank you for coming, Noara.
All right, thanks so much, Noara. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
And thank you to everyone else for sticking with us this far. I'm just straining the tea multiple times so that I don't find any tea leaves when I'm drinking this later. I know it's a lot of extra step, guys, but it's really worth it. So I'm gonna dump this. Now we're gonna, I strained my tea 2 times, and now it's gonna be the final time. 3rd and last time. Now she's clear. Right. Now this pot is gonna go up for washing. And that tea be done. Alright guys, so this tea we're gonna leave to the side. And at this point, we're actually going to flavor our tea a little bit so that it's not super bitter when we're drinking it. And so we want to add some sugar to this. If you don't want any sugar in your tea, that's perfectly fine. I personally don't enjoy tea that's too bitter, and so I'm just gonna add a bit of sugar. And I'm just gonna use the brown sugar that I used earlier. So you can control your sweetness for this. So I'm not gonna provide any measurements or anything like that. But definitely just add a little first and then just keep adding more until you like the taste of it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Just add a little bit. Gonna stir. My mom always complains whenever I make this Thai tea. She always complains I don't make it sweet enough. But you can always add, if you're making this for like friends or family, you can always add sugar, more sugar to their tea, to their cup. But if it's just like a general batch, you don't want to make it super, super sweet. If you plan on sharing this with other people, don't make it too sweet. Definitely start at like a base sweetness, if that makes sense, and then you can add more to that tea later, because you don't want it that same sweetness for everyone. Some people might not be able to handle it. Just a little taste. Not sweet enough. So I add more tea. I mean, more sugar. Yeah, the rest of it goes in. And at this point, our tea is pretty much done, guys. And then now we're just waiting on our boba. Yuto's waiting on her eggplants. Okay. So again, we've been doing a lot of talking, me and Yutong, or Yutong and I. So I don't know. Well, how about let's just talk about our days, guys, or let's talk about our week. It's Friday, end of the school week. How's everyone doing? Feel free to let us know in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like. I'm gonna volunteer Casey. How you doing?
Okay, well, I think I can speak for a lot of us that this quarter has been really difficult. I'm currently taking 3 classes. I'm taking 2 at De Anza to maintain my senator status, and then 1 at Foothill. And I just made the decision today I'm going to drop my animation production because I haven't made any progress on that. And I don't know, it's just been very difficult to focus on everything that's been going on. Or I mean, sorry, it's been difficult to focus on my schoolwork with everything that's been going on. Yeah, and then I don't know. I feel like at this time it's a lot more important to, because there's so much misinformation, or like there's a lot of like disconnect between the resources we have on campus and like what the students know. So yeah, that's what I've been focusing on. And I'm gonna popcorn and call on somebody else because popcorn is fun. All right, popcorn. Let's see. Let's do popcorn Matt. Matt, are you there? And John just left. Oh my God. I was gonna popcorn him next. Oh my gosh. Okay, how about Winnie? Winnie, how are you doing? Winnie says hello.
She says,
I'm okay, I guess. Oh, see, everyone's struggling. It's hard. I think some professors are better as oh, it's pronounced. Wait. Sorry, I'm pulling up the chat.
Winnie, are you cooking with us?
Yay!
Oh, yay! I'm so glad. I hope my steps were clear enough.
Oh my gosh, Winnie is the best. Okay, I'm gonna let Winnie cook then, so she can focus on cooking. Yes, Matt, do you want to share how you've been doing this quarter?
Hello. Can you guys hear me? My mic is
Yes.
black right now. Yeah. Okay. Just how I'm doing like overall this quarter, or
Yeah,
like
it could
with
be
COVID stuff. Or...
just in general.
Pretty good. Online classes are a little difficult to get used to, but for the most part, cool.
How's Circle K, Matt? Matt's, if you guys didn't already know, Matt is the president of Circle K, which is a club on campus, and which you can be involved in.
Yes, come through, join. It's super fun. Lots of fellowship, lots of service, lots of leadership opportunities. Very, very fun. We just actually recently had a DARE fundraiser where our board members, people submitted DAREs and then donated to the Environmental Defense Fund.
and we raised $311.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
What was the
Yeah. Craziest dare? One of my board members had to dance to, I don't know what it's called, but it's like an anime opening. It's not an opening soundtrack or original soundtrack song or anything. It's like the Chica dance, maybe is what it's called. I don't remember. It's a very, I don't know. It was embarrassing for him, but it was funny. Very entertaining.
Speaking of anime, okay, I won't get too crazy, but if you guys have never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, I know a lot of people don't consider Avatar: The Last Airbender as anime. I don't know what to characterize it as, but if you guys haven't watched it yet, definitely watch it. It's, in my opinion, one of the best shows that have ever been created in our time. So it's actually on Netflix right now, if any, or you can illegally watch it on like YouTube or something like that. I'm sure you guys have heard of like earthbending, waterbending, firebending, airbending, whatnot. A lot of that originates from that show, or at least I believe this show made that type of bending very popular. Yes, Kimberly says Atla is the best show, such important themes, and I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I think a lot of the concepts and ideas that Avatar: The Last Airbender presents is something that has carried on with me, like even to this day. So, and like I remember reading some things on Twitter from animators, and Avatar: The Last Airbender was a show that inspired a lot of animators to become animators. So, something as such an impactful show, I think, if you guys haven't already watched, I really want to highly recommend it to you. And if anyone else has any other show recommendations, love to hear them. Otherwise, keep stirring your boba, guys. We're almost done. And looks like Yutong is getting ready for another layer of motzi.
So I just put my last layer on, and it's ready to go back into the oven and do the things. Be a happy camper. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in the oven at 375 degrees for 10 minutes. And the final result would be shown to you guys. Thank you, Winnie. I know it's looking so good. I cannot wait.
Yummy.
I'm going to read the chat really quickly because we have some comments going through. Kimberly says, love how careful you are with the cheese, Yutong. She is very, very careful with the cheese. Honestly, everything that you guys are making looks really good.
It's me destroying my mom's soup.
I have like a bunch of eggplant left that I don't know what to do with.
Leftovers.
It's
You
really
could probably
good. You can bread it and then fry it.
Oh.
I still have marinara sauce, though. Maybe I'll make another round.
Or maybe you could do like a Chinese eggplant tofu or something. Yutong.
I'll freestyle it and show you guys maybe ashes after I burn it.
I'll improvise it.
Just gonna eat the cheese.
So while there's like a little bit of a lull while you guys are cooking and preparing, one other thing I wanted to recommend is anybody who wants to be more involved in what's going on, one tangible thing you can do is you can check in with your local representatives and see what kind of action are they taking during this time. I follow Ash Kalra. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry. But he's been actually out on the streets and protesting. And even though he's not my representative, I admire that he's being vocal and using his platform and, you know, bringing these issues to the California Assembly. I decided to check on my assembly. Oh, I did. Yay. Kimberly says I pronounced his name correctly. I should know because we met him. Oops. But I checked in with my assembly member and he's been very disappointingly quiet. So you could shoot them an email, you could tweet at them if you have a Twitter, or you can use Instagram and just say like, hey, please do your job. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to say it like that. You could be, you could ask them to please speak up on this, and what's going on right now is really important and what they could be doing. And they don't have to be protesting on the streets necessarily, but maybe they could work on some legislation to present to the assembly. And now I'm going to throw it back to you, Tom.
Oh, no, I was sitting in. I've been doing a lot of research because I'm an international student, and I was kind of worried about like what would happen to me if I were to go to protest. And so I think the First Amendment doesn't protect us, and the Constitution isn't made to protect international students. So if we get arrested, it's likely deportation. I don't know how ICE goes about it, but I just want to put that out there, that if you're gonna go, please be safe, please be careful. Some tips that you can take away are don't let anyone know your visa status, because that can easily be used against you. If you do get arrested, do not tell anyone that you're F1 visa, unless they're your lawyer, who should be given to you, I think, even though we're foreigners. Do not go with identification that can identify you as, you know, foreign. I think identification in general also, just to, you know, kind of be a bit wary about it. Your phone, I've heard about not having your phone on face unlock because all of your information is in there. But if you do get arrested, please don't. I'm not sure about the resources in California. I will have to dig into that a bit more. So if you guys are interested, please let me know.
I want to piggyback off of that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when I was actually living in South Korea, the official memos we would get from the US Embassy would be like, hey, there's this protest going on, don't go to it, because essentially we had zero protections in the country that we're in because we were foreigners, right? We were in the same position as you. So I think, just generally speaking, I don't think international students should be going to any of the American protests, because just the amount of like police brutality, and then your visa status, and it's difficult because there aren't as many resources to go and help you. Like, there are other ways that you can contribute towards the movement. I just think, because, you know, you're an international student, you just need to take all the precautions, and yeah, just stay safe. So
Well, that's why it's all the more important for us to, you know, sign these petitions, watch the videos, do what we can whilst we can do it.
Yeah,
Steven looks like he's ready.
I just wanted to add on to that. In terms of protests, if you do go to a protest, make sure that you're protected, because you never know. I know a lot of this sounds really crazy right now, but this is our reality at the moment. So if you do plan to go to a protest, please make sure that you have a face mask with you, because please remember that we are in the middle of a pandemic. And another thing is that I've seen stories where police just throw like tear gas like at protesters without any warning,
or shooting protesters with plastic bullets or
Rubber bullets.
those lines. So please, please, please be careful. There are there are some like survival guides, which you can Google about and find online. But for the most part, when in our area in San Jose, Cupertino, I haven't seen such stories yet. Other than that, Officer Jared Yuen, which he is, I think, getting arrested. I think he's finally being charged. And if for those of you who don't know about Jared Yuen, he is a police officer who fired without warning at peaceful protesters, and he was shouting really rude things at protesters like "shut up," "b word," and things like that. Like he was repeatedly saying that, and there's footage online of him doing such things. So again, things like that got police officers like Jared, for example, really look out for that, everyone. Anyways, about my boba, I tasted it and I found that you bird. Be careful, you dog. I tasted my boba and it's not as sweet as I'd like it, so I added some more brown sugar, and we're just gonna wait for that to finish. It's almost 3:30, guys, and we're actually, which is kind of perfect because Yuto and I are almost both done. So we're gonna actually start assembling. So.
Okay, so whilst that's happening, Steve, are you ready? Sorry?
Go ahead, Yuto. Share.
Right, and if you guys are in the Cupertino, Sunnyvale area, there's actually a protest today from 5 to 7 p.m. And I was checking it out. They're very organized. They've organized with the Sunnyvale Police Department, who have a fairly well track record about, like police brutality and everything. And they're organizing a route from downtown Sunnyvale all the way to the City Hall. So if you guys want to join, that's happening. And again, everything we said earlier does apply, but just to let you guys know that is an opportunity for you.
Thanks, Yutong. So anyways, here's my boba. It's not done yet. As you can see, there's some that aren't completely black yet. And that's my fault because I decided that I added a bit too much water. And so I added more boba to kind of counteract that. And as you can see now, the boba really took in that water and has expanded. So again, just keep in mind those ratios, everyone. And yeah, since this isn't fully done yet, I'm gonna let this cooking for about 5 more minutes and then we'll finally be done and we're just gonna wrap up our workshop soon. I have some comments from Kimberly in the chat, so I'm gonna read out loud. Jared was also seen licking his lips and smiling while attacking protesters. So again, guys, this police brutality is just crazy. And he recently posted on his social media saying that he won't be fired and, quote, everyone does stupid things, quote, haven't heard about his charges yet. And Kimberly also says, as a general note, I recommend going to protests before evening, ideally before 7 or 8 p.m., as police generally show up later, and that's when things escalate and people get hurt. Yeah. I definitely want to reinforce this comment from Kimberly. I think that's one of the reasons why this our curfew was implemented at 8 p.m. Usually after that time is when people began to steal things from places such as Target, Walmart, etc. So again, be really safe, you guys. So I'm just gonna let this keep cooking. And then Yutong is getting her stuff ready. So I'm just gonna take this time to talk a little bit about DSP Send It Now. So if you guys aren't already aware, this event is being hosted by the DSP Environmental Sustainability Committee. And we're just one of 8 committees now within DSP Senate. And if you don't know what DSP Senate is our student government at De Anza College. So if this is something that's really new to you, student government, but is something that you're kind of interested in, I personally have always been interested in student government ever since I was in middle school and high school, but I never really gave myself the chance because I was kind of scared. I always thought student government was only like for the popular kids or whatever, because the popular kids are the ones who got voted in and whatnot. And I heard about our student government, and you know, I first became an intern and I just went for it. So if this is something that you're interested in, we have other committees available to you, or you become an intern at first. You can still become an intern or a senator, even through our remote format right now. And any one of the senators here today can give you more information. So the senators who are present or interns who are present right now, or you can just send a message into the group chat. We have a website specifically for DASP. So if you guys are interested in that, please check that out. Actually, Casey, if you could just link that real quick into the group chat, that'd be awesome. Yeah, this is our committee, and this is one of the things that we planned. So yeah, Utah and I have a lot of fun, so you guys should join us.
I'm sorry if it was painful watching all this delicious food, and you guys are so far away. Saying one last thing. What?
I'm gonna switch over to my laptop. All right, thank you, Casey. So Casey has linked the link to our DSB website on the De Anza College page. And now that it is 3:27, which is almost near the end of Sustaina-BITE-lity, I'm gonna start assembling my milk tea, finally. So excited. So if I wasn't on as much of a time crunch, I would actually allow the boba to cool a little bit so that I can kind of retain its chewiness. But since first thing I like to do, if I'm doing this immediately, add the boba to our cup. And the boba is perfectly cooked at this point, guys. I want to just emphasize that you really want your boba to be fully cooked, because if not, you're gonna bite into raw tapioca flour, guys, and it is not yummy. It is not yummy. Okay. So add however much boba you'd like. I love a lot of boba. To your favorite cup, this one's mine.
While Steve is doing that, mine is ready. That is it.
Oh, Instagram.
Getting those angles. It looks kind of white on the top because of the cheese, but that is it. And now I'm going to serve it to myself in a little bowl and tell you guys how it tastes.
Nice. A really great way to kind of freeze shock your boba, guys, and make it help retain its chewiness.
Steve, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you, okay, so after you cook all this boba and like, let's say you have like a lot of leftovers, how would you store the leftover boba?
Leftover boba. Or if you made a lot like me, I'd highly recommend just leaving it out because if you put it in the fridge, for example, I'm sure you guys have experienced this yourself. When you go home and you can't finish your milk tea or whatever, you put it in the fridge, but then there's boba in it. The boba gets really hard. So if you have a lot of leftover boba, I'd really recommend just leaving it out, you guys. Just allowing it to cool, and it should be good for up to a day. And it should be just as chewy. Thanks, Casey. What a good question.
Watching you guys cook and make drinks made me hungry, so I'm eating a banana in solidarity.
All right. Got our sweetened Thai tea. I know it's already 3:31, you guys. Thank you so much for staying with us, but please bear with us for just a bit longer.
While Steve is doing that, I'll give a review of how this one is. I realized earlier that I didn't add any salt or okay. This is a lovely meal, especially if you cook for yourself. It could probably last you a while. Thanks for coming, Kimberly.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for hosting.
I have to say, I'm quite impressed with my phone. Only I could share this with all of you.
How is it? Out of
It's
10?
really good.
Yay.
Out of 10, I'll give it a 7.
What?
Which is a B, you know, it's passing. I'm very impressed with myself. I was expecting food poisoning, but
Right,
it's nice.
now it's time for the magic to happen. I love this part. This is my favorite part. Adding the milk. And again, I've got Chobani oat vanilla. I really like the creaminess and richness of oat milk. And this is vanilla just for some little extra sweetness. All right. Whoa, whoa, I love it. You see that gradient, everyone? Ah, yes. Right. Don't forget your boba straw. If you guys can't find any boba straws, I got mine from 10 Ren Tea. They always sell a lot of boba straws, or if you live kind of near Palo Alto, Boba Guys sells a lot of boba straws, reusable boba straws. Some other places, Seven Leaves also sell boba straws. Then we can do a little mixy mix. Oh, look at that color, everyone. Look at that color. Look at that. Look at that color change. Science at its finest. Yummy. Okay, I'm gonna give this a taste test now. It's so chewy. Just the perfect amount of sweetness. This is a really good milk for the Thai tea. The vanilla. Casey was telling me the other day how when she made boba, she added a bit of vanilla extract. I think having this, perfect. Perfect, so good. And I think Thai tea with this vanilla oat milk, it just tastes so good. 10 out of 10. And just based off of looks, I'd also give Yutong a 10 out of 10. Okay.
I
Everyone?
was asked to save some for my host family, but Are we ready to close it off?
So thank you so much, everyone, for sticking out with us today, giving us not just 1 but 2 hours of your time on a Friday. Again, this session has been recorded, and we will post the recording so that it's available and accessible to other students on our Facebook event page. And all the resources that we talked about, we're going to try to compile, and we're going to post that on the event page tonight. So please look forward to that. And again, thank you so much for coming. My name is Steve, and I was your head chef for this vegan bubble milk tea.
My name is Yutong. I was your head chef for the Eggplant Parmesan.
And thank you all so much for coming. Have a great day. And at this point,